Vyakatakhyakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So today we are here celebrating Guru Purnima, which falls on today. This is the 5th of July 2020. As you all know, that because of this unique situation which has arisen because of the COVID-19 pandemic, that this is the time when we really feel to be together to celebrate this. But we feel, as per the way I'm seeing, that all are participating online, which actually reminds me that nowadays I'm hearing a lot that the present restrictions have actually resulted in physical distancing, not social distancing, because we are still, because of the internet, are socially coalesced all together. And I previously had the a wrong apprehension that through internet you can never get that feeling of that the gathering. But here I have already started feeling that though it is through the internet, somehow the social interconnectedness, all the psychological feelings which you have is also related to that. So that way, it's the boon of the modern time that this technology is there to help us to get rid of the handicap which has ensued because of the present restrictions. So now let us just enter into the discussion, the significance of Guru Purnima. That where the role of the Guru lies in our spiritual journey. So before discussing about Guru, let us just try to understand that what actually the spirituality means. Now, we all know, as per our Vedic tradition, the ultimate reality has been described as Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. Whether we are believer in the dualism or non-dualism or qualified non-dualism, whatever it may be, as per the ultimate reality is considered, we all believe that that ultimate reality, as has been depicted by our scriptures, is Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. What does it mean? What does the Sat Swarupata means? It is actually a connotation of three words, Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So what does these three words actually indicate? Sat, the truth, very nicely has been described by our scriptures as something which is Trikal Avadita, one whose existence is never interrupted by any phase of time. That alone is truth. Everything else is a mere projection which starts at a certain point of time, continues as a flow for certain phase of time, and then comes to an end at certain point of time. Like, just consider our psychophysical existence. This cannot be the ultimate truth. We, being identified by our body-mind complex, were born at a certain point of time, go through the 6 phases of changes. Jayate, asti, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, nasti. We were born, we exist, we grow, we start transforming in the middle age, then comes the process of decay, and at last the death is there. So this existence as a psychophysical being can never be the truth. The truth is something which is behind this. The Sat Swarupata, which has been spoken of in our scripture as the ultimate reality, is something which is uninterrupted. whose existence is uninterrupted by any phase of time, past, present, future. In the past, through eternity, it was there. At present, it is. In future, again, it is going to be there through eternity, whose existence is never interrupted. Now, immediately, that doubt may arise. That yes, even science also says so, that energy and matter is interconvertible. So maybe not in this form, but either as matter or as energy, we remain in some form or other. Not as this sense of I, but all the things which constitutes me can never be lost. I was there, some probably I was born, all the constituents which belongs to me was born in a star. Again, I will be in so many different forms, but they are after all inert matter, isn't it? So here Vedas again assert that Sat Swarupata, which they are speaking of, is again Chit Swarupa. The ultimate reality is conscious principle. We generally have an idea that the inert matter conglomerated to create consciousness as an epiphenomenon. It came out. It's not the reality, it's an accident. But in Vedanta, there's an assertion that the ultimate fundamental reality is Chit. It is the conscious principle. What I see as matter is actually epiphenomenon. It's not the reality, it's the projection. So the ultimate reality is Sat, and again, it is the conscious principle. It is a self-reflective awareness. It knows it exists. That's a Chit Swarupata. It is consciousness. And again the doubt comes that if that is Sat, that is Chit, is its existence something like ours? In our life, we find that maybe as a psychophysical being, I am not eternal. But as long as I am alive, I know that I exist, that this knowing speaks of my Chit Swarupata, and my existence speaks of the Sat Swarupata for the time being. But Ananda Swarupata, we have a doubt. Why? We find throughout our life that we are constantly being carried by the waves, the tides of the events of life, sometimes taking us to the bliss, to the ecstasy, and sometimes again just throwing us down to the ebb of depression, sorrow. That we never find uninterrupted happiness. So here the scripture says that ultimate reality is not something like this, the way we reflect, we just think of our life. The ultimate reality is Ananda Swarupa. It is uninterrupted bliss. So Sat Chit Ananda is the ultimate reality which the scriptures speak of. And it again speaks of, that's the something which actually is permeating the entire existence. That Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa has become everything. So we find in the Taittiriya Upanishad, very nicely, it has been indicated that Ananda Swarupata, that it is because of that Ananda, the creation has came into existence. Ananda Brahmeti Vejanat, no Ananda to be Brahman. Anandheva Kalvimani Bhutani Jayante. The entire creation has come out from that bliss. Anandena Jatani Jivanti. In Ananda, in that happiness, the entire existence is sustained. Anandam Prayantyam or Abhisantiti. So at last, it again merges in that happiness. What it actually means. Very interesting, the way the Upanishad is describing the ultimate reality as happiness. That has been explained by Swami Vivekananda with the help of an allegory. What's that allegory like? That the happiness, when you are happy, how are you trying to find out that expression of the happiness? Just take the example of a small child. It's always happy. It's always in bliss. How that bliss finds expression? You will find throughout the day that the child is busy in making, whenever you give them some clay or something to make some model, They will go on making so many things, but at the same time, they are not attached. They may make some wonderful thing with the clay, and the next moment they can again break it. This making and breaking are all the expression of his happiness. There is no purpose behind that. So Swamiji is actually, while trying to explain the bliss, the ultimate reality, is giving this example of a child. The way a small child makes and unmakes with the clay, with the constituent uh, by which he's making the model. So with like that, the creation is a spontaneous expression of joy of the ultimate reality. And now another question comes, that if he alone is, then as per our existence is concerned, full of joys and sorrows, what's the meaning? Why he has created us this way? Well, actually, this question was asked to Ramakrishna once, that if God is all compassionate, why is there so much of suffering in this world? Why is there so much suffering? He is all blissful. Why we suffer? And then Ramakrishna very nicely replied, where are you? Everything is He. He has become you and me to enjoy the bliss. It's very interesting. This answer is very wonderful, very significant. That when you are happy, can you really enjoy the bliss which is coming out from within? Can you enjoy alone? You will find that the bliss can be really multiplied if you are sharing it with others. So God's expression of bliss was such that he created, and not only created, he created something to this likeness, like the human beings. He has been this being, we are there, and he has given the sense of me and you, so that in the words of Ramakrishna, Lila Poshtai Hoy, means you can enjoy the game. Otherwise, the game cannot be enjoyed if you're alone. So to give a sense of enjoyment, he has created you and me. Now another question comes. Well, he wants to enjoy through love by creating he was one, he became many, and through love, he wants to interact with each other so that the bliss finds expression. If that's the thing, why he hasn't us created us in such a way that we should always love him? Why should we get drawn towards the world if intention of God is that we should love him, not get distracted by the world? Why has created in such a way that we get distracted? In the Upanishad they say, Paranchi khani vyatrinat swayambhu, tasmat parang pashyati na antaratman. That he has created us in such a way, he has endured our senses in such a way that it's always outgoing, it never goes within. Why? The thing is, if he would have created us in a way where we were bound to love him, it would have spoken of not a living being. It's something like a robot. A robot which has been programmed with unconditional love will always love you. But will you ever feel it's a being? Never. Because you know very well it has been programmed to love you. Whatever you may do, there is a wonderful movie. If you get chance, you can just watch it. It's wonderful. It got a lot of Grammy awards. Its name is Artificial Intelligence. There, this thing has been depicted. When I just saw that movie, this is the idea which just came out from that movie. I really enjoyed that idea. That's what's the spiritual intonation hidden there in that movie. That is, actually, the movie was not made with any spiritual intonation. But when you see it with a particular paradigm, a spiritual significance comes out of it. That a child, artificial intelligence has been created as a small child to love unconditionally the one who is adopting it as its mother. The mother is always getting the unconditional love of the child. Why such a robot she has purchased? Because he doesn't want a child who is always creating a lot of disturbances, always obeying, always loving. So that will be something wonderful. But as you go through the movie, you will find some situation arise. After all, it's a robot. The mother has to think of discarding it. Very interesting. In the movie, we will see a wonderful thing. The mother never gets the feeling that it's my child because she knows very well it's after all a robot which has been programmed with unconditional love, but after all, it's a robot. And when the situation comes, it has to be forsaken. That robot is taken to some forest and they just leave it, abandon it. The child is crying because it is, after all, an artificial intelligence with unconditional love. It's crying. It never wants to be left alone. But the mother not don't feel never feel any way that she is doing something wrong because she knows after it's a machine and she easily leaves it. It's just a part of the movie. The movie, after all, goes on with so many stories. And just what we are indicating that if God would have created us with the programming that we are bound to love Him, it would be something like an artificial intelligence. Love only can be enjoyed when you know the one whom you are loving has the choice to reciprocate back that love or may not. Then only the love can be enjoyed. I know that I love a person and I want that love to be reciprocated. But at the same time, I know there is a choice. He or she may, or she may not. It is that choice which makes the love a wonderful thrill and adventure. That yes, in spite of the choice, that there have so many varied choice, he or she has reciprocated back the love. And then only love becomes love. And then only the bliss ensues from that. Now God is playing. He ultimately wants to enjoy the bliss which is His. And that's why He has created us with the choice. You can move out, but also you can turn around. But God is always waiting for us to turn around. We can go out, but always He's waiting to turn around. By our own choice, we should turn around and then God will run. It is not we who have to go towards God. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say very nicely, if we proceed towards God one step, He will come running 16 steps. He is waiting because He wants that bliss. For that the creation is. But at the same time, He cannot make us in a way that we are bound to love. Then the bliss cannot be enjoyed. So though He allows us to go away, but He is eternally waiting for us to turn around so that He can really enjoy the bliss that can ensue from love. And that's why in our Hindu tradition, you will find the Gopala. It is we who are supposed to extend our hand in front of the divine, asking for this and that. You just see the Bala Gopala. It's just the opposite. God has extended His hand. Where we are going to ask, it is as if He is asking. He's eternally waiting with His hand spread out. He's eternally waiting when we turn around. He's asking His love. It is He who is waiting. This idea is wonderfully expressed in one of the stories in Bible. You know, all the religion speaks of the same traditions in different language. The story of the prodigal child, which has been spoken of in the Bible. It's a wonderful story. That a rich man had two children, had the two sons. The elder son was obedient. As they were growing up, the elder son was obedient. The father was rich. He had a lot of property, a lot of land. The elder son was obedient. And the father knew as he has two sons, he will have to share his property to both the sons. When he is gone, his property will be shared among both the sons. But the young son wants to be independent quite early. As he has grown up, now he is not just like his elder brother. He wants to be independent. So he goes and claims to his father, please give me my share of property. I want to be independent. The father tries to explain that you are not yet sufficiently matured. You will just squander the wealth. You will become a pauper in 2 days. But he is adamant. He won't listen. So at last the father has to yield to the sons this again and again this request for sharing the property. And at last the son goes away from his father and tries to live an independent life. And as was predicted, as it was inevitable, he just squanders his wealth. In a very short time, he becomes pauper. Nothing is left out. And now again the thought of father comes. Because after all, he has to sustain himself. But now his mind is full of fear. That in all the religion, in the initial stage, that fear we have. When we really try to become religious, we always think, oh, God may be very much angry with me because of my waywardness. But the thing is actually opposite. Therefore, just in that story, the son is the really first thinking is apprehensive, whether father will accept me. I have not obeyed him. I have wasted his wealth. Now, if I go back, will he accept me? He will be angry with me. But as there is no other way, with all fear, he starts slowly to return back to his village. He was slowly returning back to his village. And the story says, very nicely, poetically, the story says, the father saw the young boy returning from a distance. He saw, and it is he who ran. It is he who ran, embraced the child, brought him back, and there was a huge celebration to just celebrate the homecoming of the child. A wonderful story. So that's as if the purpose of the creation. God is eternally waiting. He is ready to run 100 steps if we just turn around. So if this is the thing, where is the need of guru? So now in this, taking this as the background, we will come to the context of the need of guru. And this again, we will resort to a Sufi tradition, the Islam tradition. A wonderful story is there of Maulana Rumi. Wonderful story that how the guru plays a great role in our life. That as we are made in such a way that we are free to go out, but again, the God has made the world perfectly imperfect. You can never get happiness there. At last, you are bound to squander all your wealth and turn around. But it may be too late. It may prove to be extreme danger for us. We may be in peril. And God doesn't want that. After all, it was a game for him. He doesn't want to be in a real danger where we can never come back. At last, we are not there to be annihilated. We have to come back. God has made us that way. So sometimes when we ourselves don't get the tendency to come back, there comes the need of the guru. A wonderful story Maulana Rumi is relating to explain this idea that where the role of the guru lies. That one day the mother was busy with her work and she found the small child, the infant, is nowhere near. So she thought, where has the child gone? So she, in search of the child, went up the stairs to the terrace and found something very dangerous. The child is almost sitting in the edge of the terrace, on the cornice. And now the mother was so scared that she started approaching towards the child to bring her back. Now, when the child saw the mother approaching, the child thought it's a game. Oh, mother is trying to catch me. And it started moving still towards more and more towards the edge of the terrace. It was already almost in the edge of the terrace. It started moving. And now mother was terrified. She never knew what to do. That she takes a step further, the child also moves more near the terrace. And she was in a fix. She was just scared. She never knew what to do. And some old wise man was seeing the entire thing from the road, what's going on. And he shouted and told, wait, don't move. Just wait there. And what he did, he got hold of one of the child, of the neighbor's child, who was playing with some toys. He got hold of the child, and along with the toys, he brought that child and got up the staircase and just made the child sit just where the stairs have ended, there only, on the middle of the terrace. All with the toys, the child was made to sit there, nothing else. And now the other child, seeing the other child sitting with all the toys, was lured with the toys. Now he came running towards the child, and that's how the child was saved from falling. What a wonderful story. And here, Maulana Rumi is saying the second child is sent by God. That's the Guru with the toys. He looks just like us. The child saw that it's just like the other child. He looks like me. He also likes the toys. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, when he understands that actually, Arjuna, when he understands that Krishna is Bhagavan, then he is actually repenting. I thought you to be my Sakha, but actually you are God. So he comes in the form just like us, as if he's also there ready to play with us. And that's how, when we are not in any mood to come back, for which God has made us, and that can really result in more and more suffering, which God doesn't want. And there is the role of the Guru to mediate. He comes us to again bring us back to the path for which we are destined. We are all destined for that. So Guru is the mediator in the process. So that's the wonderful role of the Guru. Nowadays, many have started thinking in the age of information. All the spiritual knowledge is available in internet. There are so many books, and many have started practicing their spiritual practices based on all those informations which they gather from the media, from all the books, from the publications. And sometimes they have the idea there is no need of Guru. This information, the Google itself has become the Guru. In the last year, I saw some cartoon on the Guru Purnima day. It was sent that on the day of Guru Purnima, the Shishya is bowing down in front of Google saying, this Google Gurave Nama. So that has become, but can really the Google become your Guru? Never. Swamiji used to say only the lamp can enkindle another lamp. You can light a lamp with another lamp. And you may say it is just an allegory. Okay, our modern language is the language of the science. Let us try to understand with the help of science. And we'll give you a very common example. You know, just a few decades, 2-3 decades back, it was discovered, it was in our Shastras. We find Abhimanyu has been instructed that way, that when the child is in the mother's womb, when others are speaking, the child actually imbibes the knowledge. Even when the mother is trying to learn something, the child is imbibing that knowledge. Not only that, when the child is born, the more the mother is interactive with the child immediately grows the language skills, not only language skills. It increases, it helps to increase its IQ, it makes it intelligent. And now, this idea that if you interact with the child, it will develop its IQ, it will develop the language skills. And now in this age, you know, everything is this marketing, everything, marketing is there for everything. And now immediately many such softwares there. That mother is busy, she has to go for job. So there are so many softwares, the DVDs for interaction with the child. The child will sit in front of the screen and will interact with the voice which is being produced by all those softwares. And that way they will learn the language, they will develop the language skills, develop their IQ. With that idea, the market was really flooded with that type of softwares, DVDs, and all those this media products. But again, it was a very wonderful thing. In a very short time, it was found the child who were actually kept exposed to those media, thinking that they will develop those language skills, it actually proved to be the opposite. Those child became dumb. They were quite dumb. And then they started finding out it's not that machine voice. It has to be the sound coming from some animated being, and especially the mother. And you know, in the science, so many wonderful discoveries. They are saying that we have neurons which are called mirror neurons. When you see a living being with empathy, with compassion, your mirror neurons are reflecting that. And then that motivates you to really learn, to communicate, to learn. Now see the language of science. Now you will say, the lamp really candles the lamp. That's the same thing happens in spiritual life. The guru who has already went to that spiritual realization. Out of compassion is coming. There is no ulterior motive. If there is some selfish motive, he cannot be a guru. That's why in our scripture there has been mentioned, akamahata. There is no ulterior motive. It is just out of unbound compassion. Sri Ramakrishna used to relate a wonderful story that what the guru is like. The three friends were passing down the street, and suddenly they saw on the side of the street a huge wall. So they were curious to know what's on the other side of the wall. So they managed to get a ladder, a very long ladder. They inclined it against the wall, and one of the friend climbed to the top, started climbing to the top. The other two told, just when you go to the top, please relate, please say us what you see. Now when he goes to the top and is viewing what is on the other side, his two friends see he has become ecstatic. Out of joy, with both hands upraised, he is shouting, and now these two friends are shouting, what's there? What makes you so happy? Please say. But the one who was in the top was so overwhelmed with that ecstasy, he just forgot that he's supposed to relate his experience. He was so overwhelmed, he couldn't restrict. He simply jumped to the other side without relating his experience. So now the two who are left, of them, the second one, he also started climbing up. And he also made the same fate. When he reached the top, he was so ecstatic, he couldn't relate it to the friend remaining. He also jumped to the other side. Now only this last boy, the last person was remaining. So there is no other way than to climb up, because no one has related what is there on the other side. He climbed. When he went to the top, he was also ecstatic. He also felt like jumping to the other side. But immediately he restrained. He thought, if I jump, there won't be anyone to relate that there's a wonderful world on the other side. There won't be anyone relate. So just to relate, nothing, there is no ulterior motive. Just to relate the experience on the other side, he comes down. And he's the guru, he's the avatar. What a wonderful allegory Ramakrishna is giving. There's no ulterior motive. Just to relate that this world, this sunset world, which I think to be the be-all and end-all of my existence, is not everything. There is an uninterrupted bliss, happiness, if we can just shift our awareness to that another level of our existence. And for that, the guru is there, who comes down from that state to relate his experience. That's why he should be avrijinaha. Means three characteristics of guru has been spoken of: Srotriya, avrijinaha, akamat. Srotriya. First you have to hear. You know that the third friend, he heard from the other, he just understood from the other two that there is something on the other side. But if he would have not climbed, then just that inference wouldn't have helped him. So after hearing manana nididhyasana, all those practices, contemplation, took him to that realization. But he restrained, he's not merging, he's coming back, coming down the steps. Avatarana, coming down, that's why it is avatara. The one who comes down, who comes back, he is avatara, coming down. So he should be Srotriya, he should be avrijinaha, pure. He has already restricted himself from the distractions. He has already went to that realization. And akama, there cannot be any ulterior motive. Because for him, this world has become insignificant. If I say I will give you realization, give me money, that means money is important for me. How can I be a real guru? That speaks I don't have the realization. The realization speaks that everything becomes trivial. So you cannot have any ulterior motive. Just out of unconditional love, he comes down. Shankaracharya and Vivek Churamani, how nicely he says, what's the characteristic of guru? He is just like the spring season. Vasantavat, lokahitam charanta. That's Just that phrase I'm just saying that I'm not the Vasantavat Lokahitam Chananta. When the spring comes after the winter, when the spring comes, the nature, why the name is spring? Because the entire nature springs back to life. It went to an hibernation, it comes, springs back to life. Is the spring season doing it willfully? It's just, is it having that motivation? Let me spring back the life? No, its nature is such. Everything just spontaneously springs back to life. The Guru is something like that. He has that unconditional love. It is not something that he is planning, that I will have to go and save the world. No. When he comes down, that spontaneity, out of spontaneity, that compassion comes out, and that is there to save the world, to again bring back life to the world as if. And that's the role of the Guru, which has been spoken of in the scriptures. And these are the things for us, the mirror neurons, as if seeing that gets motivated. It cannot be just that animated thing which you can get through the internet, which can really motivate us. In spiritual journey, know it for certain, it's not the will. Most of us make that mistake. Throughout the life, we struggle with all the distractions with our willpower and think this is the only thing with which we have to progress in our spiritual journey. No, know it for certain. This will at the beginning is required, but it has to get transformed into emotion. That love should be there, just the way the mother never meditates on the child. Does the mother sit down and meditates on the child that I may forget the child? It never happens. That love is spontaneous, and that makes the remembrance something always uninterrupted. Mother, even when she's cooking, she can never forget of the child. When our love becomes like that, then only that we can speak of that spontaneity, that's the real love. So the love of this for us also, there's when we say studying the characteristics of the Guru, that's spontaneous love. So similarly, as a disciple, that we can respond only when that unconditional love is shown to us. But what are the characteristics? Are there some characteristics of the disciple? Yes, we need something. We also should have that tremendous yearning. If we don't have the yearning, if we think that we are still satisfied with the world, nothing can turn us around. That if that little yearning is there, then only the real Guru can help us. That's in our Kathopanishad it has been spoken of. Nayam atma pravachanena labhya, na medhaya na bahuna srutena, yame vaisha vrinute tena labhya. But you can never reach that ultimate by pravachana, by just giving lectures, by hearing the lectures, or by studying. Nothing can help. And then what can help? Yame vaishavrinute tena labhya. You know, the bhaktas say that whom the God chooses, he only can just realize him. It's the question of kripa. But Shankaracharya, the same slok is in Mundaka Upanishad, is in Katha Upanishad. In one place he's speaking of kripa, in another place he's giving a total different interpretation. That's very interesting. Yame Vaishabhrita means the one who chooses to realize the truth. To him alone the realization comes. So it again speaks of endeavor from your side, our yearning. That is very important. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Jay Chai, Ramakrishna was a master in playing pun with words. In Bengali, he will say, Jay Chai, She Pai. The one who wants, he gets. So if you understand Bengali, then you will understand the beauty of this couplet. Je chai she pai, je na chai, take baro bhute na chai. Means he's just keeping the space in such a way to give a total different meaning. The one who wants, he gets. The one who doesn't want, je na chai, take baro bhute na chai. All this, your sunset world is going to make you dance. They're like the ghosts who is going to make you dance around. Huh? Nachai. Nachai means they will be made to dance. So this yearning is a very important factor in spiritual life. As Ramakrishna very nicely used to say that When a disciple told that I really yearn for the spiritual evolution, but nothing is happening, I want God. The disciple, the guru, never answered. He just took the disciple for a deep in the village pond. And when both the guru and the disciple took a dip, now the guru immediately, what he did, he just uh, thrust the head of the disciple beneath the water and never allowed him to come up and kept him there for some time. And the disciple was gasping for breath. And when it was almost unbearable, then he was released. And then the guru asked, how were you feeling? I was gasping for breath. Why did you just press me under the water? I was gasping for breath. And then the guru asked, you were just saying that you yearn for God? Do you yearn for God this way? So that's the yearning. So when we really feel this world is a burning pyre, as Swami Vivekananda is saying, Swami Vivekananda is giving a very, some examples are really very crude, but it hits the point. He's saying a very interesting thing. When someone told that, Swamiji, why you speak of the ultimate realization? We are quite happy. This world is also there. God is also there. Little devotion, little world. What's the harm? And Swamiji told, you are happy with the world. Continue. And then he told, what's your condition like? Your condition is like a monkey who is playing with the child, with its small one. With a small one, it is playing with the child. And then someone kept a hot plate, just red hot plate, on the feet of the monkey. And the monkey, finding it unbearable, threw its own child on the hot plate and stood on it. It's a very crude example. Swamiji is saying, a time will come, the world like the child with which you are playing, you will find that this world at last is burning you. It's a hot pyre. You throw it. It's of no use. The thing which you think to be your identity, without which you cannot stay, you throw it. And that's the yearning. Then only you, the thing which you thought to be your near and dear one, it's now you're trampling over it. You don't want it anymore. Then only you can think of the real spiritual evolution. And when I have developed that yearning is alone? No, now the guru is required. And for that again, I need Shraddha. Shraddha means almost a faith to the guru. And you may again say that why should I have faith on someone? We have faith in the worldly, in our day-to-day life. Without faith, we cannot exist. When you are suffering because of some very severe disease, you want to get rid of the suffering, that yearning is there. Again, I want that health back. Tremendous yearning. What do you do? Go to the doctor. And what you do? Whatever he prescribes out of faith, you just swallow that. Your yearning for health takes you to the doctor. Why you go to him? Because you know that he has studied the authentic medical science. He is a representative of that. Whatever he prescribes or she prescribes, he is going to do me good. I know nothing of the medical science. I know nothing of the anatomy, how the medicine works. Nothing I know of it. But I simply have the faith that he is the one who represents the medical science. Similarly, the guru is the one who represents the scripture. He has realized that. He's an authoritative person. I know nothing. I know the world has now become a burning pyre for me. I want to get rid of it. Now this Shraddha, just like the way you go to the doctor, here you go to the guru, who is the Bhavaroga Vaidya, who is going to take you out of the disease called worldliness. He's going to take you out of that. He's a Bhavaroga Vaidya. How nicely the scripture says. And for that, the same faith is required. The same faith that yes, he is the one who has realized the truths of the scripture. And then again after that, I shouldn't try to modify his instructions. That's the thing which we will all try to do. When Sri Ramakrishna used to instruct someone in any matter, he wanted that it should be done exactly, even in small trivial things. If anyone is to disobey, he will say, for such small trivial thing you disobey. And then for the spiritual matters, what will happen to you? So make the habit to have total faith in me and just now let go, leave your hand. That you have given the total responsibility to him. The total Sharanagati is very important in our spiritual life. Unless we have that total resignation, once I have faith, whatever the instructions have been given, I don't doubt it, and with fully resign to the will of the divine. As in our Hindi, there is a couplet, Guru ke dwar mein kutte ke mafik pare raho. When the dog, which is your pet, if you treat it good, it is going to be with you. If you don't treat it, it is not going to go anywhere. Even if you kick it, it is going to just lie there below your feet at your door. As Mahapurush Maharaj used to say, Mahapurush Maharaj had his dog, when he was in Belur Mutt. He had one dog, and whoever used to come, seeing the dog below the feet of Mahapurush Maharaj sitting there, Shivanandaji, he was very childlike. He will say, "This is my dog." And then he will point to the photo of Ramakrishna and say, "And this is his dog." So this is my dog and this is his dog. So that's the idea, that Guru ke dwar mein kutte ke mafik pare raho. Have full resignation after that Shraddha. That's very important. Why? That real ultimate, that our spiritual goal is to get rid of the I. We are all holding to the branches of this samsara. And in the name of religion, what we do, suppose you have climbed up a tree and you are holding onto a branch. And after some time you find why you have went to that branch, because there are some ripe mangoes. In your quest to get the mangoes, suddenly you find the branch is infested with a lot of ants. And now you have to get rid of that branch. So what you do, you just look around and find another branch nearby, get hold of it and leave this branch. That's what we are doing. In our life, we think, this is going to be what is the ultimate, my happiness, joy, this relationship, this wealth. And when we are in it, this profession, and then we find the boss is half mad, or my relationships are also like that, with whom I have relation, they're all as crazy. And now I think of jumping to the other branch. And that's what we are doing throughout your life, jumping from one branch to one branch. And then at last we think someone has told of God. And then I nomenclature another branch as God and try to hold on to it. And that way we are still holding to the plant, that huge tree. That will never give us, in the name of having devotion to the God, again we are holding to a branch. The thing is wanted is actually to leave the hold, get rid. Don't fear of that you will fall and die. The one who is sitting there is the Lord. He will just fall in his lap. It's very interesting. In Sanskrit, the word guru means the spiritual teacher. It also means weight. If anything is heavy, we say it's guru. So guru has something to do with gravitation. So in our day-to-day life, when I'm on the top of the tree, if I leave the hold, what will bring me down? The gravitation, isn't it? And in spiritual life, if I leave all the hold, even I am holding onto Guru's feet tightly, or Ishvara, with some result, thinking of some result, that is not going to help. Shankaracharya very nicely saying that Ishwaropi, in Bhagavad Gita commentary, Ishwaropi me tushyatu iti sangam tyaktva. That even God be pleased with me, I have left that also. That speaks of the real resignation. I know He is there to save me. Then only the real spiritual evolution happens. So just the gravitation, when I'm on the top of the tree, to fall down, no effort is required. You just have to leave the hold. Gravitation pulls you down. Similarly, in the spiritual life also, the effort required is only to leave the hold of all the clingings of the world, and even of all the spiritual aspirations, and just have the faith in the Guru. And then the grace will pull you up. The gravitation pulls you down, the grace pulls you up to the spiritual evolution. And that's the thing which Sharanagati does. And that's why the Guru, with whom my mirror neurons responds to helping me, not only just the way it responds to the biological mother, it responds in a far greater way to evolve me to the spiritual stature. to transcend all the dualities of life. So for that, that ultimate, that sharanagati, that resignation is a thing wonderfully did. So just with a small story, I will end this discussion, that what that sharanagati, what actually it means. A very poor pilgrim, was a commoner from a village, pilgrim, had no resources. So he thought that, let me go to Vrindavan and have the vision of the Baki Bihari of Krishna. So he had nothing, just in a bundle of cloth, whatever, a little dried rice or some cornflakes or whatever it may be. He kept this food, or this all the dried food inside it, one spare cloth, and that's all he had, this small bundle. With that, he started his journey. Now, that was his only belonging. His entire treasure was in that small bundle. So he was very cautious of that. Wherever he used to halt at night for taking rest, he will make that bundle the pillow, because he knows that if anyone tries to snatch away, immediately he will wake up, because it's after all his pillow. It's always with him. He will never keep it aside. It's always with him. And when he's traveling, it's always in his shoulder. At night, it is his pillow. He never keeps it aside of him. Then he at last reached Vrindavan and just took shelter in some almshouse. At night, he was resting there with that bundle as a pillow. In the morning, he got up. Now it's time for him to go for the darshan. So now he's going from temple to temple. At last, he goes to the Baki Bihari's temple, and his desire is as if fulfilled. He sees the Lord in his presence. And now when his turn comes, there's a long queue. When his turn comes, he's almost in the front. Now he can now touch the feet and do his salutations, do the pranam. So what he does, with one hand, he's holding the bundle. With the other hand, he is just doing the pranam. The pujari says, the panda, is that the way to do pranam? After such a long distance you came, do pranam nicely with both hands. Fold your hands. Now this person is a bit fearful. He knows that in the religious places, the things can be very easily stolen. It's so, we have happened in Ramakrishna Mission. If you just ask the sadhus, about 50% sadhus will say that before joining, when I went to the Ramakrishna Mission Center to do pranam to Guru Maharaj and thought it's just a matter of 5 minutes, I kept the sandal outside and came back, it was not there. So they're in search of that moment when you are just being distracted by something else. So the thieves, anyone those who steals, the thieves are an expert in that, to find out when you are distracted, and they will take away the thing. Now, Krishna is the biggest thief. You know that if you just read his life as a Gopala, that is always stealing makhan, there's butter and all this. He is the Choras Churamani, the king of the thieves. He's a king. So he also wants that distraction. Now, this man was with the bundle, always with the one hand trying to do pranam. Now, when the pujari told, just for a moment, do the pranam nicely, and he thinks that after all, it's a matter of a fraction of a minute or a second, whatever it may be. So he just leaves the hand from the bundle, and with both the hands, bows down and does the pranam. And immediately he remembers that the bag he should take care of. He now brings back his hand to find the bag, to sense the bag, and it's not there. It has been taken away. So that, the God, that's why Gopala is waiting with the extended hand. Just for a moment, give your entire focus to me. I am expert. I will take away all your sanskara in just one fraction of a second. But that's our inability. That's the thing. And that's why the Guru, we find, is required with full sharanagati. If we can do that, he becomes the channel. He becomes the way. He becomes like he's like the matchmaker. He's the matchmaker who can connect me with the Paramatma, with whom I am actually eternally one. And there we find the role of the Guru. So we, on this special day, should try to understand that the Guru in the spiritual life is required, without which the spiritual journey can never progress beyond certain step. Because as we were saying, it's not the matter of will. The will should get transformed into emotion. And then that emotion brings a spontaneity, just the way the mother thinks of the child spontaneously. It doesn't have to will. So when that spontaneity comes, then automatically that sharanagati comes. You just resign yourself to the divine, and then he takes care of the rest of the journey. I still remember in Hyderabad, I heard, when I went to Hyderabad long back, Ranganathanji was our vice, at that time, the vice president there. So the editor of Times of India, he got initiated by Ranganathanji, and after initiation, he was relating a wonderful thing. What's the thing? Just after the initiation, he he was just proceeding towards the dining hall to have the prasadam. And when he was just near the door of the dining hall, he saw his guru, from whom he just got initiated, Ranganathanji Maharaj. He was quite far away. So out of respect, he stopped. That let Guru first, the one from whom I got my initiation, my Guru, let him enter, then I will enter. And seeing that, Ranganathanji from a distance told something which literally is not possible, but which is very significant. He told, don't stop, proceed. You go one step, I will proceed by 16 steps. By the time you are there, I will be there. So that man was quite intelligent to understand what he meant. So we should also have that faith. Let us do our part a little. As Sridharanji constantly says that we are too clever. We say to God that if you can do 16 part, why not one more part? You do it. So we also don't want to avoid our part. So that won't do. Let us do our part. God will take care of the rest. And there lies the role of Guru. So with this word, we stop our discussion today. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampa Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tang Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namam Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadagurum Pada Padme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu Namasri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchid Sukhaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharini. So now we will have just a short arati, and with that, today we will conclude our Guru Purnima celebration.